Okay. Okay, so I'd like to get started. Thank you again for joining us. If you came for the webinar, you are in the right place. Don't think you got lost trading sheep. And I'd like to get started. So hello, everyone. Thank you for attending our webinar, Becoming Miss Navajo, a conversation with Jolyana Begay-Kroupa. My name is Tyler Mitchell, and I am the executive editor for Salina Bookshelf. And before we begin, I do want to introduce myself in Navajo. So yat she Tyler Mitchell inisha, Torajin inishle, Honagathni Busishin, Maideskizi Dashache, Kiani Dashanella. So I am of the Bitterwater people, born for the one who walks around people. My maternal grandfathers are of the Coyote Pass people. My paternal grandfathers are of the Towering House people. Again, thank you all for coming with us today. We are here to talk about Becoming Miss Navajo, Salina Bookshelf's latest children's picture book written by Jolyana Begay-Kroupa, who you can see on the screen now, hopefully. The beautiful book is designed by Cory Begay, a Navajo artist, a former art director for Salina Bookshelf. And Becoming Miss Navajo is available at salinabookshelf.com. And you can also call Salina Bookshelf at 877-527-0070. And you can order over the phone. We are offering free shipping at this time. So if you want to place an order, now is probably the best time to do so. And we are also giving away 10 free copies to all of you Zoom participants. Well, not all of you, sorry about that. But we will be giving away 10 free copies, and we will choose randomly if you registered with our Zoom. So if you registered with your name and your email address, we will be getting back to you within the next few days to see if you, to send you an email and confirm that you are one of the winners. Mm-hmm. So first of all, I would love to thank Jolyana Begay for coming to join us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this webinar. I'm excited to be here. I know that things are difficult right now with COVID-19, but perhaps through this webinar, we can brighten our evenings. So thank you, Tyler, for having me, and I'm excited.
I can't wait to get started. But before we do, I would love to take this time to give to you to introduce yourself.
Awesome, thank you. So, yaat e anotro ade da isanot aegi she yaha trachini nishle do titna jini bashishchin ash che dashiche do yaidene trachini dashanele she Jolyana Begay-Kroupa yanishya do sahotso de nasha qad e kwa hoz do de ke hashtin do shananishna de bil'ina ash inigi Craig Kroupa walya do nakaalchine etcha ashike na kitsada do nezna do na ke tabanache ako yaat nihidini do lelt anotso. So good evening, everyone. Thank you again for logging on to this special webinar. I shared with you the 4 clans that I use to identify myself as a Navajo woman. So the first clan I get from my mother, my maternal grandmother, my great-grandmother on my mom's side. The clan is called Tachitni in Navajo, and it means red running into the water people clan. I get my second clan from my father, so I'm born into the Blackstreet Wood People clan. And then the third clan that I get belongs to my maternal grandfather, so my mom's dad, my Che, and they're the Red Bottom Cheek People clan. And then the fourth clan I get from my dad's dad, so my Shanale, and they are the giant people of the Red Running into the Water People clan. So I shared that I'm originally from this community just north of Fort Defiance on the Navajo Nation. I grew up there, and then I moved here to the Phoenix area about 18 years ago. I live and work here now. And then I shared that I maintain a living here in the Valley with my husband, Craig Kroupa, and our three boys. So I have a 12-year-old, Sky, and then my middle boy, he's 5 years old. His name is Kent. And then our baby, his name is Clay, and he's 2 years old. And I want to say hi to them. They're logged in from home watching.
And thanks again for joining us today. And for those of you at home, Jolyana honorably served as the 50th Miss Navajo Nation from 2001 to 2002. She is the Director of Development for Phoenix Indian Center. She holds a Master's of Arts degree in Social and Philosophical Foundational Education with an emphasis in American Indian Education Policy. She holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in Elementary Education. She currently teaches Navajo language classes at Arizona State University and Stanford University. And she has also taught for Harvard University and Yale University.
Thank you.
Once again, I would love to thank you for joining us. We are going to talk a little bit about the book, and I'm excited to get started.
Yes.
Becoming Miss Navajo, the book centers on the role of Miss Navajo Nation. So to begin with our little conversation, I would love to talk about the importance of Miss Navajo and what she represents for the Navajo people.
Yes. Thank you, Tyler. So the Miss Navajo Nation pageant is an annual pageant that's held each year in September at the Navajo Nation Fair in Window Rock. And it's been held annually since 1952. So about 68 years we've had a Miss Navajo. And in keeping with Navajo culture and Navajo traditions, Miss Navajo is really the goodwill ambassador for the Navajo people. And she represents, the role of grandmother, of a mom, an auntie, a sister for the Navajo people. And Miss Navajo Nation represents the importance of Navajo women. And, she carries with her that respect and really trying to help to continue that cultural heritage, the teachings that she was taught from her elders.
So the Navajo Nation pageant centers around a pageant, and there are a few components to that pageant that we'll get to talk about in a little bit. Mm-hmm. So please do tell us what the contestants endure through the week-long competition, as they're tested on their fluency in Dine Bizaad, as they demonstrate their traditional skills, as they perform contemporary talents and engage in food preparation.
Mm-hmm. So the week-long pageant is really a challenging competition. If you ever get a chance to go up to the Navajo Nation Fair, I encourage you to. So it's really a unique competition. So it's a week long, and the contestants are busy almost every single day doing different types of competitions. So there's an interview panel that takes place both in Navajo and then in English. And it's really about, answering questions about the traditional and modern Navajo customs that you tell about. And then there is a Navajo traditional skill and talent competition. And here's where contestants are given the opportunity to really demonstrate and show those teachings that were given to them by their elders. And then there's the contemporary skill and talent competition. There's the impromptu questioning that, again, happens in both English and in Navajo. And, the impromptu question is centered around current events or issues that are currently happening in the community or on the Navajo Nation. And then, of course, there's the butchering and the traditional food preparation, which I think most people always are intrigued and want to know more about. So that's one of the famous competitions held at the Miss Navajo Nation pageant.
So the pageant itself requires you to be so prepared, and sometimes that takes years and years. And you definitely need people behind you to help you motivate your passion for it. So, and you do talk about it in the book. So please share with us how your family surrounded you and helped you in your journey of becoming Miss Navajo.
Yes. So my family has always been so supportive. Since I was a young girl, I had shared with my grandmother that I wanted to be Miss Navajo and told my parents, my mom, my dad, my siblings, and they all played a role. You know, everyone was always so supportive and helped me. I attended, you know, traditional gatherings and ceremonies, listened to the teachings that my grandfather would share. They were practitioners. I had aunties and uncles, extended relatives, family, friends, even teachers that were mentors to me and really helped me in different ways, you know, whether it was donating jewelry as I got closer to the pageant, or helping me with my songs and the speeches that I was going to give during the week-long pageant. So my family has always been so supportive and continue to be that support system even to this day.
And not only does the story tell that of their involvement in your journey, your book is filled with powerful personal portraits of your journey during the 2001 to 2002 Miss Navajo pageant. First of all, I want to say thank you for sharing these powerful photos. They do add so much to the story, and they are really, really great. And from what I understand, that getting all the photos for this project was a journey in of itself. So tell us a little bit about that journey.
Yes, it was. So I was really pleased to learn that you know, we can incorporate the actual images into the project, and so that was really a neat experience. So I reached out to family members, extended family members who were at the pageant that week, and asked them, you know, do you have photos that you could share? I really want to include them in the book. I reached out to the contestants that were in the pageant that week with me, as well as the reigning Miss Navajo at that time, who also, you know, was more than happy to share some of the images. And so it was a really neat project to gather all these photos, because back then, during, you know, that time, we didn't have like digital cameras built into our phones that we could just capture all of these images. So it was neat to really kind of get out and ask people and you know, find all of these different pictures. Some of them I had never seen before, and it's definitely worth it because the images really help to tell the story. So I'm pleased to know that they're included in this project.
And thank you again for sharing those with us. I know as an editor, we were sitting down to kind of get the book together, and there was so much more photos included in this book than we decided to go with. And
Right.
to be the photos kind of we were able to share that experience with you through those, and so that's why I have to say thank you again for sharing them with us.
Of course.
Right. And so another part of the book, of course, is the story. So we will start to get into the beginning of the book.
Mm-hmm.
So in Becoming Miss Navajo, you share your personal experience of your run in 2001. What motivated you to share this incredible journey with us, Salina Bookshelf, and the world?
Mm-hmm. So what motivated me to write this book? So first off, I am a language advocate. So language revitalization is very important to me. And I really felt that there needs to be more resources, more literature out there, especially in Navajo. And so that was kind of one of those main motivating factors. And then the story itself. So the story of Miss Navajo, you know, the journey to becoming Miss Navajo is it's really it's a unique story. It's a powerful way, I felt, to encourage our young people. And so that was also, you know, something that also motivated me. And then I really wanted to inspire the youth, the same way that I was inspired as a young girl. You know, I wanted to be Miss Navajo. I decided that at a young age. and really tried to work hard to fulfill that. And you know, I wanted to carry out the teachings of my grandmothers and all of that, everything that they had taught me since I was little. So those were some of those motivating key factors that helped me to put together the book project.
And it's such an incredible, inspiring story. So I think everything that inspired you, I definitely think you put all that energy into this book.
Mm-hmm.
Another interesting thing about the book is that there is a Navajo language edition of the book, which is forthcoming. And this is going to be Salina Bookshelf's first series where the English and the Navajo books are separate. And there is a significance behind that. And can you explain that significance?
Yes, I'm actually really excited to learn that Salina is going to do two versions. So one, the story will be told in Dine Bizaad, entirely in Navajo, and then the other book, the version will be told in English. So it's really neat to see that. And I feel that way because, you know, I really wanted readers to stay in the mindset of the story from the net perspective. So, you know, a standalone in one language really helps to showcase the story. And so to me, that was really important. It was important because when I was writing the story, I started writing the story in English. I finished the story and then I wanted to just do a translation into Navajo, a direct translation. Well, the story didn't flow as well in Navajo. It was hard, easier said than done. So then I started to just write the story only in Navajo. So I wrote the story entirely in Navajo. And then I tried to just translate it back into English, but it didn't flow as eloquently as it did, you know, in that language. So knowing, so it was a process. It was hard to really tell both stories and tell them well simultaneously, but I was able to, you know, get through it. And so now that there's two versions, I think it's really going to help showcase in one language, and that's what I'm really excited about.
And we will, for everyone watching, we are going to get a little glimpse of the Navajo version later on.
Mm-hmm.
So do stay tuned. So let's get into the book. The book begins with your first encounter as a child, seeing Miss Navajo Nation and how that encounter motivates you to compete for the role of becoming Miss Navajo, you know, several years down the road. So I would love to take a look at this section, and please, would you love to read this section for us?
Yes, I would be happy to. All right. So, my first glimpse of Miss Navajo Nation. My first glimpse of Miss Navajo was at the age of 7 years old at the Navajo Nation Fair. From that moment, I wanted to be like her. I uttered my dream of becoming Miss Navajo to my mother. One day, I hope to wear a beautiful crown. I hope to wear beautiful jewelry like Miss Navajo. I dreamed day and night of what it would be like to be Miss Navajo. That opportunity arrived when I was 20 years old, when I decided to enter the Miss Navajo Nation pageant. I told my maternal grandmother, "This is the year, Grandmother Lucy. I am going to compete in the Miss Navajo pageant." "That is wonderful, my granddaughter. One day you are going to help your people. You must represent your people with dignity, pride, and respect," she expressed. I knew the competition would be competitive, and I was ready for this challenge because my mother and grandmother had taught me everything I knew about Navajo culture, history, and customs. My preparation started in elementary school when I enrolled in the Navajo Language Immersion Program. There, I learned how to read, write, and speak Navajo. I was well prepared for this competition, but a bit of hesitation still went through my mind.
Thank you again for reading that for us. So here we see the first set of pictures in the book. Could you please explain some of the photos for us?
Yes, so these are some of the images that you'll see in the book. So we'll start with the picture on the bottom left. So this is a picture of my older sister, Jovina, and I. So Jovina's wearing the gold ribbon shirt, and I'm wearing the maroon ribbon shirt. And her and I are at the carnival. We're at the Navajo Nation Fair. And I was about 4 or 5 years old. I always look forward to the local fairs on our reservation because it would be an opportunity to see Miss Navajo there. And then the image in the middle off to the right is a picture of me. I am about 8 years old in this photo. And I'm in 2nd grade. I attended the Navajo immersion program where I learned to read and write Navajo from master teachers, some of whom are still teaching there at that school to this day. And then the image at the top left is a picture. I'm in the purple, and I'm standing next to the 1994-95 Miss Navajo. Her name is Karen Loop. She's from Kintlachi, Arizona. And this photo was taken in May of 1995. It was at a high school graduation that I was invited to. I was asked to sing a song, an opening blessing song there, and Miss Navajo was there as the keynote. So I was really excited, and after the graduation, I got to get a photo with her. So, you know, those are some of the images that we used for the book.
Yes, and again, these are some amazing photos. It's so cool to see. You know, you kind of always had this idea of becoming Miss Navajo, and you can see that in these photos. And you know, it seems like a generational, or at least for you, like over the years, an ongoing passion that you just kind of always knew you had to fulfill.
Yes, for sure.
And I want to talk a little bit more about the competition. So during the pageant, you are taking the actual journey of becoming Miss Navajo.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked a little bit about the talent shows and the competitions. And I do want to ask you for a few of your highlights during the week. So please share with us what were some of your memorable experiences during the entire competition.
Yeah, so what a great question. You know, the pageant, it was a week long. It went by very quickly, obviously, but there are some memorable experiences that I think back to even to this day. And one of those that comes to mind right away is getting through that challenge. So I mentioned earlier, you know, there's all kinds of different competitions that you go through, and you're busy all day long. And you're not with your family. So contestants are not allowed to interact with their family that entire week. So being away from my family was really a big challenge. So each day I had to, you know, fix my own sash belt and tie my own Navajo hair bun without, you know, the help of my mom or sister. I had to wrap my own moccasins each day and make sure that I did it right. So, you know, that was a challenge. And then you become, I was exhausted. I got really tired and you know, both mentally and physically. But I hung in there and I worked through it. And so I remember a teaching that I had growing up. And my mother always said it, my grandpa, even my grandma, they would always say, "Ah ho ajit ego," which really translates into, you know, success is up to you. Only you can get through things on your own. We can't do it for you. And so that teaching really kind of resonated and made sense to me. And so that challenge and getting through it, you know, was a really eye-opening experience. Therefore, it's a memorable one that I hold on to this day.
So out of all the competitions, there was a famous one. There is a section in the book that focuses on the sheep butchering. So we do have that in the book. Mm-hmm. Let's take a look at this challenging skill and let's see how it's portrayed in the book. And once again, would you please read for us?
Yes, I would be happy to. So as Tyler mentioned earlier, the book is available in 2 versions, in Navajo and English. I'd like to read from the Navajo version at this time. Number one, to give you an idea of how beautiful Dine Bizaad sounds. And then secondly, to give a glimpse of the story from a Navajo perspective. And for our non-Navajo speakers, the English version is here for reference. So, Na'a to ba alneke. Na kijin kune asha neheki ba hol jij. Asha ne a betsede shema ashifne. Be asha neheki ita alako nantagi beniya hashtadin zindo. A ita te be na aheki ya yaltke la nizin. Be asha neheki e te be na a do ta dene bichiya al bil sod. Di e alate yego shananta nit yego big shit ye do benina shitra puteklit. Shikud do shilla do ditskiz. Chicken la bil de batten seal a. Ado atsinki dolt is benia hashtelia. Bekedo e nanes kade sid kage silt e. Ashon alchenen shlene da. Trana oshne do nanes kade anesh inko. Ayo benesh glinfenne. Ako do shilyeko traiseni do nanes kade ishta. Nta etis kitiki ntan hitis kitko benina shilye na hasklin shikod do shilla do diklit. Kadsha haati banina dinidza danigo ntan hitis kit. A dinek etche hadin shtego shiyo do shistislagre do shilatsene shansenilgo do shikensa alto bi seesgo che skilgo hiteshna nide bananishka. Akonde ta nihema do nihemasane ata al inegi at ego ishka. Dinet o ahayui tabenalko nihina goyil a. Sani do hastui nastas linki oge chiyan al ayo dayi chinhiki al do tabenal. Alha honene na kijin kone alsko ish taiki tsitayego pa niniala.
Thank you again for reading that for us. And we see here some of the pictures of the famous sheep butchering event. So can you point yourself out on these photos and give us a bit of like what's going through your head and a bit of the events that are going on around you?
Yes. So thank you, Tyler. These pictures, I can go back to that day like it was yesterday. So the sheep butchering and that food preparation competition, it was very tough. It was a really, really challenging day for me. I practiced as much as I could, but I wasn't completely skilled. So I'm the young lady that's wearing the light greenish colored apron. So it's a special apron that my Auntie Percy made for me for this particular event. So she sewed that apron and gifted the apron to me to wear at the Miss Navajo pageant. So it really did make me feel good. So in the bottom center, that picture, I'm with my partner, and her and I were cleaning the intestines to make a chi. A chi is a Navajo dish that is really popular and many people really, really enjoy it. So we're cleaning it using water and being very careful. to make sure that, you know, we do a good job. And then the image on the top right, so there's me, I'm kneeling down and I'm sorting the stomach intestines. So her and I are trying to move as fast as we can, you know, to get through the process. Because the judges, they look at, well, you know, how well do they know what they're doing? Are they moving too slow? You know, and so I'm trying to move as fast as I can and to get through the different steps in this process. And then the image on the top left, I'm standing underneath the sheepskin. So here I'm holding the main torso while my partner, she's cutting the backbone. And so, you know, this such a challenging day. My one of my uncles, my uncle Joe, he gave me a special butchering knife that he, you know, he gifted me and said, "You're going to do well. Use this knife." And so, you know, that family support, I hung on to that during that particular competition. And there was a part where I remembered, so the judges, they ask you questions while you're working. So they held up a real common dish that everybody knows the name of, at least the people, you know, that enjoy to eat mutton. So in Navajo, it's called atsa. So they held this up, and it's supposed to be one of my easier questions. And they said, you know, what is this? What is this called? And I could not remember. And that's how nervous I was. But it was a common item. And I'm like, I can't, like, who forgets that? But I forgot. It slipped my mind at the time. But it was okay. You know, it was okay to make mistakes. And I got through that competition. That day, I was very exhausted, very tired. I was very tired, but I was also very proud of myself that I pushed through and made it.
Yeah, that's a great story. It sounds so intense, and I think a lot of little kids will remember cleaning the HE, especially now. You know, it's still going on nowadays. I remember that growing up.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so at the end of the competition, of course, the coronation comes. The pageant ends with the coronation where the Miss Navajo Nation is announced. Will you tell us how you were being scored and who was doing the scoring, please?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. So each competition throughout the week, you have a new set of judges that come in, and they have, you know, a particular criteria that they're prepped and told, you know, how the scoring system worked. I wasn't, I didn't, I never was able to really kind of look at, you know, what the different categories were and how they scored, but I imagine that, you know, there were different areas that they, you know, watched and then made their scoring. But I do know that there was a running tally. So at the end of a competition, the judges for that competition would tally up the overall score for that competition, and then they would turn it in. And so each competition, a new set of judges, and these were local community members, you know, leaders, politicians, so maybe a council delegate or a chapter president would come and be a judge for the Miss Navajo pageant. Educators, so teachers, those that taught Navajo, law enforcement, or even other royalty were invited to be judges. And so they rotated them each competition. You know, this way there was no favoritism that occurred, right? So there was a new set of judges, and they tallied them each competition, and then at the final evening, they then, you know, broke down the scores and shared how many points, you know, each candidate got, and so on. Mm-hmm.
Wow, so you kind of really didn't know and didn't really know how you were doing up to. And that's the next question I do want to ask you. Without knowing who's doing the scoring and how you are being scored throughout the week, did you feel good about your week of competition leading up to the coronation?
I I think so. I think I felt good about things. I do know that the butchering was the most difficult. And I remember asking myself, like, if I can get through butchering, am I really able to serve as the ambassador for the largest tribe? And so it really took some, I had to tell myself I'm here for a purpose, and to kind of get motivated about the overall intent and why I was doing what I was doing. And so toward the end of the week, I was more proud, leading toward the coronation, like, gosh, all of us contestants, we worked so hard that week. We became very close. We got to know each other and we supported one another. We were young women. I was 20 years old at the time, and there were contestants that were younger than me. So we really kind of rallied together, and I wasn't sure what the outcome was going to be. I know how I did. Sometimes I didn't watch some of the other contestants. I try to focus on what I was, going to do. So, but going into the end of the week, I think I felt good. I felt proud. Like I'm doing this. I'm almost there. So I felt good about it.
And in that same breath of how you felt during it, obviously this was a culmination of years of preparation and your family helping you. So after the years of planning and the week of the rigorous competition, what was going through your mind as the coronation was just beginning?
Right. That, prior to the coronation, I think that I felt tired. I remember feeling really exhausted. So that Saturday, we had to wake up super early because we have to get in line for the big Navajo Nation parade, the fair parade that occurs. So, there's thousands of people that attend this parade. And so we have to get in line really early. So it was an early day for us. I was excited because I knew that Saturday I get to see my family tonight. I get to be reunited with my family who I was away from, during a really a tough week. But then I was also excited to find out, like, will I become the next Miss Navajo Nation? Like, am I going to win the competition? So all of those, I think I was really excited. No matter the outcome, I was proud of myself. I was proud of the other contestants. We really tried our best. So it's important to mention that one of the requirements is to be a speaker and to know about our Navajo culture and our traditions. And it's not common anymore, right? So there's not a lot of young women that can fluently speak in Navajo. And so it's tough. It's tough to be to kind of be put on that type of platform. And the expectation is that you can convey yourself in both English and in Navajo. And that's not easy at that age. So I was more proud and excited. I think a combination of both.
Well, it is a great moment of the pageant itself. And there is an exhilarating passage in your book about the coronation. So once again, this will be the last page that we reach here. And will you please read that to us?
I would be happy to. So, coronation of Miss Navajo Nation. At last, the Miss Navajo Nation coronation arrived. The Honorable Navajo Code Talkers escorted each of the contestants as they were introduced to the crowd. The responsibilities and duties of Miss Navajo Nation were carefully conveyed. If selected as Miss Navajo, it will be your responsibility to represent yourself, your family, and your community. It will be your duty to share and educate others about the Navajo culture, language, and tradition, the announcer explained. The excitement was in the air. Who will be named Miss Navajo? The announcer began. The third runner-up was announced. My name was not called out, and there were 3 contestants remaining. The announcer continued. The second runner-up was announced. Still, my name had not been called out. 2 of us contestants remained. As I stood there waiting to hear my name, I was nervous and proud at the same time. I recalled my grandmother's words, "No matter the outcome, please know we are very proud of you." I thought about all the teachings I had learned from my parents, my grandparents, my aunts, and all my teachers. I thought about how thankful I was to have a good foundation my family created for me. I thought about the hard work, preparation, and practice I had completed in the many days and months that led up to the pageant. I thought about the tiring, challenging competition over the last few days. Was I going to be selected as the next Miss Navajo?
And once again, these are some incredible pictures of the coronation. So the coronation is, there are a few steps that go into it. So can you explain some of the pictures and what's happening right here?
Sure. So the photo on the bottom left, this is a picture of the 4 contestants and I. So there's on the outer parts of the photo, there was 4 contestants, and then the reigning Miss Navajo Nation at that time, she was pictured in the middle. I'm pictured the furthest to the right, and I'm in red. And this is just before the coronation was starting. So we're getting ready to enter the arena. And then the picture in the middle, this is an image of the reigning Miss Navajo Nation. She's giving her farewell speech. So she's getting ready to, give the title over to the new Miss Navajo. And I remember thinking here that, one of us had some big shoes to fill. She was the 49th Miss Navajo Nation. So her name is Dr. Carletta Chi. And she had done an amazing job that year as Miss Navajo. And she continues to be such a determined, hardworking Diné woman. And so she was the Miss Navajo that year. And then in the image at the top left, this one is when the contestants were being escorted into the Dean C. Jackson Memorial Rodeo Arena. And so this is where the pageant took place. It was in Window Rock. There is a large grandstand, was full of people. And we were lucky to have the Honorable Navajo Code Talkers escort in. So I'm pictured, I'm the last contestant entering, and the late Dr. Samuel Billison, he was my partner. So he escorted me into the arena, and he was really sweet. I remember him saying something like, because they would put us in order, and so he learned that he would be escorting me, and he's like, "Oh, they saved the best contestant. Okay, I'm gonna come in with the winner." It was really cute. And so I remember him, in that way, and was so honored to be escorted in by our heroes, our Navajo Code Talkers.
Such a beautiful event. And again, these pictures kind of capture the moment. You can see how many people are there. And for those of you that don't know at home, the pageant ends on, I think, one of the last nights of the Navajo Nation Fair. Mm-hmm. So anyone can come and join, and it's kind of just this huge gathering of the Nat people, and it's such a beautiful experience. And once again, like these pictures, they just do the story such justice.
Yes.
Okay, so for anyone that wants to learn about the rest of the book, they want to learn more about when taking on the role of Miss Navajo and what continues on from there, you're just gonna have to read the book. So once again, just to culminate to a certain point, this is an incredible book, and everyone here at Salina Bookshelf, we're so happy to finally be able to share this project with the world. We're happy to have you here with us. It's such a powerful and motivating story, and the story and the pictures inside the story are just so, it's so awesome to have that presentation of Navajo people. And I guess for my last question, I do want to ask you, what do you want readers of all ages to experience when they are reading the book?
Yeah, this is such a great question. So, I really hope that readers come away with, some insight about the pageant, about Miss Navajo, about what Miss Navajo represents. So I'm hoping that the readers get a good sense, of the pageant and the different competitions. Perhaps, some never really knew about, the Miss Navajo pageant. It's not your typical pageant. There's so much more that's involved, the years that it took to really prepare for something that's so meaningful to our people. I'm hoping that, I'm able through the story to provide, an emotional, a thought-provoking experience through this story, hoping that the readers are there and they go through this journey with me. And so it's an important story, I think, to tell. And I'm just excited for people to get the book and to read it. And I'm happy that I've added to the resources for our Navajo people, but for Indigenous people, right? So we really need to tell our own story, and I'm pleased that this is one of the ways that I'm helping to make this happen, because it's so important. I'm telling it from my perspective, not from a different perspective. So I'm hoping that that's what readers come away with when they read the story.
Such a powerful message, and I think it's totally conveyed in your book. Again, we're so excited to have the opportunity to share this with the world. So Jolyana, we feel so honored to have you with us. Thank you so much for your time. And before we leave, do you have anything else you want to share with us?
Sure. So I want to thank, of course, and some thank yous. I want to thank all of the participants for logging in. I see, some of my friends, some former Miss Navajos. I see my family. I want to give shout out to my family, my husband's family. They're all in watching and they're excited. And so I'm thankful that they're all there. I want to say thank you to Salina Bookshelf. So Eric Lockard, Dr. Parsons Yazzie, who really helped me with the Navajo portion, the late LaFrenda Frank. So she also was very instrumental in helping to complete the project. And to you, Tyler, for all your hard work, all of the publishing company's hard work to finish the project. And then I want to say thank you to my husband, Craig, who's always supportive and has been, my support system, and to my boys, my 3 boys. They are my inspiration. And then lastly, I want to mention, so I want to dedicate this book to my Shamasane. So my grandmother, Lucy, she left us not long ago, this year actually, on March 4th. And she was 97 years old. And my grandmother was truly our matriarch. So I really believe that I am where I am because of my grandmother. And she heard about the project, so I told her about the book. I never got to show her the finished piece, but she knew about it, and she came to the pageant. She always supported me, and so I wanted, just dedicate the book to my Shamasane, Ashine Shamasane. ahol ago nanashni do ayo aninshne. So I'm always gonna remember her, and I'll never forget the teachings that she, had given me, and that I'll always love her. And so I wanted to mention that because she really is a huge part of the project, and of my journey. So I wanted to mention that, and I'm just excited about getting the book out. So I hope that everyone that logged in tonight is able to buy a book. Um, Tyler, you want to mention again how they could get their hands on the book, or the ordering process?
Yeah. Before that, I do want to thank you again, everyone here at Salina. We feel so blessed to have this story in our presence, and we can't thank you enough for all of your hard work. It's so inspiring to us. It's inspiring to me, and I can't thank you enough for everything that you've done with us.
Awesome. Make your hat up.
Okay, so again, I would love to thank everyone for joining us today. Becoming Miss Navajo is written by the great Jolyana Begay-Kroupa. It is published by Salina Bookshelf and designed by Navajo artist Corey Begay, who did a fantastic job with the layout. I think everyone's going to love it. You can order the book online at salinabookshelf.com, or you can call us at 877-527-0070. So you can call us over the phone, and if you give us all of your information, we'll be able to send those out to you. And again, we are doing free shipping at this time, so it is a great time to, if you're interested in buying a book, now is a great time. And as we've mentioned before, if you are registered through Zoom, through your name and email, if you registered to be a part of this webinar, you are eligible to win one of 10 free copies of Becoming Miss Navajo. And what we'll do is we'll be sending out to all of our winners. So keep a lookout of an email sent by us in your inbox to make sure, if you're one of the winners. So I can't thank you enough. I can't thank everyone attending enough. So happy to have this book out, and so happy to have this webinar to be able to share a lot of the information about the book. There is so much more we did not cover that's inside the book. It's so exciting. It's beautiful. People can learn so much about the culture, about the pageant itself, and just how our culture just keeps moving forward. And a great story, especially in a time like this. So again, thank you for everyone coming out. And
most definitely. Thank you, Tyler. So it looks like somebody asked a question about ways that the book could inspire our youth outside, of I'm thinking, outside of Navajo. So the story does really help to illustrate this notion that, whatever you put your mind to, you can accomplish. It doesn't always have to be a pageant, but anything, sports, perhaps a particular career. So whatever it is that our youth are wanting to do, that if they really put forth effort, supportive family is always going to be there. And so, they can accomplish those goals. And then to really, again, share our own stories. So all of us have a story to tell. And for our Native youth, our Indigenous youth, hopefully this is one of those ways in which they can become motivated to tell their own story, and to really talk about, the life and the ways of our people from our perspective, from our eyes. So I'm hoping that's one of the ways to inspire others.
And from a publisher perspective, it's so important for us, especially at Salina Bookshelf, to kind of have own persons writing just to get to the authentic side of the story. We work with Navajo authors, Navajo illustrators, and I guess to inspire other Indigenous communities to focus on making sure that Indigenous stories are told by Indigenous people, Indigenous artists. And I think that's from a publisher perspective, I think this book does a great job of that.
Awesome. Yes. Well, thank you so much. I'm excited, and I hope you guys really do get the book and read it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you guys for coming. Have a great night. If you do want to watch this recording over again, after we finish the live stream on Facebook, it should upload to Salina Bookshelf's videos.
Mm-hmm.
So head over to Salina Bookshelf, our Facebook page. There should be a few links on the side. One of them will say videos. You'll be able to watch the playback there. And then we also went live on YouTube. So once the live stream ends, you can head over to Salina Bookshelf's YouTube page and go ahead and watch the playback there. So it might take a few minutes to upload them after we're done with the live stream, but they will be there eventually.
Awesome. Ahiyahat Nitsvago, thank you for having me. Thank you to everyone that logged in. And I hope that you stay safe and we'll get through this. And I hope that you enjoyed this webinar tonight.
And someone did ask the question if the Navajo version is available. It's in the process now. It's all done. We're just waiting for it to be printed. So it is forthcoming. And just follow us on Facebook or head to our page, salinabookshelf.com, to learn more updates about the Navajo version of the book. So I think that's it. So thank you everyone again, and have a great evening.
Hagone.
Hagone.